Okay, good afternoon, friends. Students, sorry for the delay due to some technical issue. Today, we can see start up with the second unit. So, hope you remember the unit title. It belongs to DFT and FFT. What is your DFT? DFT is discrete Fourier transform. So, today in the class, we are going to see the introduction of DFT and its properties. So DFT is nothing but discrete Fourier transform. So today we are going to discuss these points. What is DFT? What is the need of DFT? What is the use of DFT? And what are all the properties of DFT? One by one we can see, just we can recollect. Mainly regarding the second unit, you have to focus on DFT and FFT problem solvation. Okay, that is the main thing. Jashwant,
Ma'am, tell me.
you are listening now?
Sure.
Okay, ma. Okay. This is what is DFT? DFT is nothing but it is a primary transformation used for numerical computation in digital signal processing. Simply to tell, DFT is used to analyze the signals and also to do mathematical calculation to analyze the signal. So for that main cause, we go for discrete Fourier transform. So before the discrete Fourier transform, what is the drawback in Fourier transform and why we go for discrete Fourier transform? That is the main thing. So due to the drawback in Fourier transform, we go for discrete Fourier transform. Of course, Fourier transform is used to convert a signal from time domain to frequency domain. Compared to Fourier transform, this discrete Fourier transform is much better for spectrum analysis. So if you use discrete Fourier transform to analyze your signal, the spectrum analysis will be supportable. So it is widely used for spectrum analysis. What is the spectrum analysis means? You can study a single signal or whatever the signal you are analyzing in the case of phase, magnitude and frequency. That is the parameter under spectrum analysis. You can make your signal into phase, magnitude and frequency. All those characteristics you can study under the signal if you use discrete Fourier transform. Not only for spectrum analysis, it is used for fast convolution and many other applications in the case of image processing. Not only signal processing, this discrete Fourier transform is used for image processing also. And one more, what is your DFT is, you can transform n number of discrete time samples. It doesn't have any limitation. That n can be any number, any finite number. You can go for transforming the discrete time samples to the same number of discrete frequency. Of course, time and frequency are inversely proportional to each other. Okay? Ma clear? Anyone kindly respond? Jashwant, clear?
Clear, ma'am.
Okay. What is the need of DFT? Why you want to go for DFT instead of previous methods? Because DFT is one of the most powerful tools in digital signal processing, which enables us to find the spectrum of finite duration signal. So this DFT is used for finite duration of signal sampling in order to analyze the spectrum. As I said before, you can analyze the signal in the form of phase, magnitude and frequency. There are many circumstances in which we need to determine the frequency content of a time domain signal. So instead of going time domain signal, if you make analysis in frequency content of your particular signal, it will be still better for you. Next, what is the use of DFT? As I said before, not only signal processing, image processing is also used for using discrete Fourier transform. So this discrete Fourier transform can calculate the signal's frequency spectrum, and this allows systems to be analyzed in frequency domain. Simply to tell, convolution. So it is allowed for a system to analyze any signals in the case of time domain. Whatever the signal which is in time domain, you can make it in a frequency domain analysis only by using discrete Fourier transform. Of course, we can use fast Fourier transform also, but at the time of DFT, there is only one case. After DFT only FFT came into the picture. So the DFT can be used as an intermediate step in more elaborate signal processing techniques. Next, we can see one by one what are all the properties or characteristic of a discrete Fourier transform. Just for remembering purpose, I have given the formula here. So capital X of k is nothing but frequency notation of any signal. Small x of n is nothing but time domain notation of any signal. So any signal in time domain will be converted into frequency domain. So x of n is here time domain signal, x of k here it is a frequency domain signal. So to find out frequency domain signal of any time domain signal, we have to go for discrete Fourier transform. And this is the formula. Capital X of k is equal to summation n is equal to 0 to n minus 1 x of n e power minus j 2 pi n k divided by capital N. So here the capital N is nothing but number of discrete time samples what you are going to analyze. So obviously small n will be equal to 0 to n minus 1. So these are all some list of properties under discrete Fourier transform. So these are all often asked in university question papers also. So first one is periodicity, second one is linearity, third one is circular symmetries of a sequence, fourth is symmetry property, fifth is circular frequency shift, sixth one circular conjugation, seventh one complex conjugate properties, eighth one time reversal of the sequence, and last is multiplication of two sequences. So we can see one by one. What is periodicity? So this periodicity, of course, for all the properties, we are going to see only the how time domain signal will be converted into frequency domain. So that is the main agenda of discrete Fourier transform. Wherever you go, whichever the property you go, the ultimate aim of your discrete Fourier transform is to convert time domain signal to frequency domain signal. So that is what here I have mentioned. X of n is nothing but time domain signal, which will be converted into x of k, that is frequency domain signal, by using DFT. Again, if you want to convert x of k to x of n, we should go for inverse discrete Fourier transform. So from small x of n to capital X of k DFT. Again, from capital X of k to x of n, you have to do inverse DFT, IDFT, that is inverse discrete Fourier transform. So now we come into the first property, that is periodicity. So periodicity is simply to tell, before going to analytical part, periodicity is nothing but suppose any signal I am seeing at time t is equal to 1 millisecond. The nature of that signal should be same if I see time t is equal to 2 millisecond. If I change my time parameter, the characteristic of the signal should not change. If it is keep on changing according to the time, means you cannot analyze any system, because a system will be working by using signals only. So the nature of signal should be stable. With respect to time, if it is keep on changing its characteristic, means you cannot study the system characteristic. So that purpose, this periodicity property is very much important for analyzing any signal. So if suppose you are assuming x of, instead of x of n plus capital N. This capital N is nothing but some time period it is added along with your original signal. So that should be equal to x of n only. It should not change its characteristics. So for analysis purpose, now I am replacing small n is equal to k. So automatically time will be converted into frequency. So your x of small n plus capital N is equal to capital X of k plus n. So right hand side if you see, small x of n will be equal to x of k. Just I am replacing n into k as time domain into frequency domain. And you know, this is the formula. X of k is equal to summation n is equal to 0 to n minus 1 x of n e power minus j. This 2 pi is missing here. It is just a straight line. You consider this as 2 pi kn. This is just the formula of a discrete Fourier transform. Now I am going to apply. So here instead of k, we should write according to our property k plus capital N is equal to, just to compare this fourth equation to the third equation. X of k plus n is equal to summation n is equal to 0 to n minus 1 x of n as such. X of n e power minus j, this line you consider as 2 pi, only in this slide it came, you kindly adjust with this. E power minus j 2 pi k plus n, instead of k plus n into n divided by capital N, which is equal to same summation n is equal to 0 to n minus 1 x of n e power minus j 2 pi n. I have separated this k and this capital N, I have separated. So if I separate, this capital N and this capital N will get cancelled. So x of n into e power minus j 2 pi n e power minus j 2 pi kn divided by capital N. So for one term, this capital N and this capital N will get cancelled, and for other term, this denominator capital N will be there. So again, left hand side you consider x of k plus n is equal to summation n is equal to 0 to n minus 1 x of n e power minus j 2 pi divided by capital N, which is equal to, this is nothing but x of k if you consider e power minus j 2 pi n is equal to 1. Okay. So now automatically you can tell x of k plus n is equal to x of k. This is what we have to prove. If my signal x of k plus n is equal to capital X of k, then I can tell my signal is a periodic signal. This is the condition actually. Okay. So hence you note this two should be equal. So this tells thus that the DFT is periodic with period n. This is known in cyclical property also when you go for repetition, because we are using summation. If you go for any number of samples to be analyzed, this in a DFT signal will be periodic if it satisfies this condition. Next we go for linearity. What do you mean by linearity? The output should follow the input. It should obey the input. Whatever the input given to the system, with respect to that input only output has to come out. So that is the general meaning for linearity. So here to compare two signals, I have taken x1 of n and x2 of n I have taken. So if I undergo discrete Fourier transform for x1 of n, it will be capital X1 of k. Here x2 of n will be x2 of k if I apply discrete Fourier transform. Now I am adding two time domain signal and applying DFT. This is arbitrary constants. This a and b both are arbitrary constants or coefficients. Say for example, some magnitude also you can consider. A into x1 of n plus b into x2 of n. If I undergo discrete Fourier transform, it will become a into x1 of k plus b into x2 of k. There will be no changes in the constants. It will be same. So how you can tell this as a linearity means we go for some proof. So if I take x of k is equal to summation n is equal to 0 to n minus 1 first signal plus second signal, and this twiddle factor I am going to involve w n power kn. This is common for both a and b. Here the bracket is missing. Kindly you note down the bracket is there. This w n power kn is common to both x1 of n and x2 of n. Now this step is nothing but just I am separating a into x1 of n and b into x2 of n. I am just separating this two. So totally this, if you compare, it is as like this w n power w suffix capital N power kn is nothing but twiddle factor. You know what is it? E power minus j 2 pi nk divided by capital N. W n e power minus j 2 pi nk divided by capital N. Simple notification is W suffix N power K N. So this can be, first term can be written as A into X1 of K. Second term we can write it as B into X2 of K. Now left hand side and right hand side both are equal. Now this is the condition for linearity. Ma Jashwant,
Hello, ma'am.
you are hearing?
I'm hearing, ma'am.
What about others? Except Jashwant, no one is responding.
They're all
More
are
than 18 people are there.
mute off, ma'am.
May anyone kindly unmute and respond to me, ma? Can you able to follow my class? Other than Jashwant, any of the student unmute and respond me?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell your name. Praneeth, you are listening, Praneeth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay then. Okay, unmute. So next we go for third property, that is circular symmetries of a sequence. So what do you mean by circular symmetry? Even though I go for a periodic notation, the property has to be same. That is the meaning for this property. So let us see in analytical way. Now you consider x of n and its discrete Fourier transform is x of k. Keep on I am telling x of n, if you undergo DFT, it will be x of k. When IDFT, that is inverse discrete Fourier transform is taken, it get periodic sequence. That periodic sequence I am notating it as x suffix p of n. Instead of x of n, if my signal is a periodic sequence, I am notating it as x suffix p of n. So I am writing xp of n is equal to summation some variable L. L is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity x of, actually n has to be, but I am writing as n minus L into n. This L is nothing but, it is a delay. Ln is nothing but delay with respect to the signal. With respect to the signal. So your x of n and xp of n both are related by x of n is equal to xp of n. 1 minute, someone is asking to admit. Wait. Okay. So now what is the relationship between x of n and xp of n? X of n is nothing but it is a normal signal in time domain. Xp of n is nothing but it is a periodic sequence of any signal. So what is the relationship between those two is x of n is equal to xp of n only when n varies from 0 to n minus 1, remaining all values it will be 0. Why this condition is taken means, according to the property, our variable L will be varying from minus infinity to plus infinity. So our DFT can be applicable only for finite duration of sequence. So we have to make it that minus infinity to plus infinity into a finite duration of sequence. So always we will be sampling our variable small n equal to 0 to n minus 1. That's why the relation for normal DFT time domain signal and periodic sequence time domain signal are related in such a way. X of n will be equal to xp of n only for n is equal to 0 to n minus 1. Remaining all it will be 0 since dealing with infinity range of sequence. So now xp of n is shifted by k units. What we have done in the periodic property, same to the right hand side. So always you are shifting the signal by right hand side means it will be minus. If you are shifting to the left hand side, previous signal means it will be plus. So it is very rare if you go for plus. So normally we will go for shifting the right hand side of the signal to analyze any signals. So That shifting again I am notating in a new expression, that is xp of n dash. So now x of n is nothing but normal time domain signal. xp of n is nothing but a periodic sequence of a signal in time domain. Now xp of n dash is nothing but periodic signal shifted by k units. So now xp dash of n is equal to just whatever I have said in the sentence, it is written in the equation. So xp of n dash will be equal to xp of n minus k, because I am shifting right hand side by k units. Now you compare with the first equation, summation n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity. Instead of n, I have shifted n as k units. So instead of n, I have written n minus k minus ln. Okay. Now a new relation came into picture, that is x dash of n. As xp of n has become xp of n dash, our x of n also has become x of n dash. So repeat, same thing will come. So x dash of n will be equal to x dash of xp of n dash only for n varies from 0 to n minus 1. So simply to tell, x dash of n will be equal to, just I am consolidating, x of n minus k minus ln, or x of n minus k modulus of n, because your n value will be positive. And or otherwise we can write x of n minus k suffix n. It is nothing but modulus of n. These are the ways of representing the signals. So this is your fourth property, that is symmetry property. Whenever we go for symmetry cases, there will be two possibilities. If we deal with even number of signals, there will not be proper symmetry will be there. If we deal with odd number of signals, symmetry property will work out. So here real and odd signals will be coming into the picture if you go for symmetry property. Say for example, I am taking odd number of samples. Capital N is equal to 9 means what is the middle part? How I can make it into 2 equal half? 1, 2, 3, 4 will be left hand side. 5 will be middle one. 6, 7, 8, 9, another 4 will be right hand side. So my fifth signal will be the symmetry signal, which is separating my sequence into 2 equal half. This will not be the case in the case of even number of samples. So here we come into symmetry property. Let the sequence x of n be a complex value and it is expressed in. So again we are writing this x of n ordinary time domain signal in the case of real and imaginary. Okay. So x suffix r of n is the real time domain signal plus j into x I of n. That is nothing but imaginary time domain signal. If I apply discrete Fourier transform directly to this equation, my small x of n will become capital X of k. My small x r of n will become capital X of r of k, and j same parameter will come. Xi of n will become capital Xi of k. This is the statement for symmetry property. Now we can see how it works out. So here as usual I have written the discrete Fourier transform formula. X of k is equal to summation n is equal to 0 to n minus 1 x of n e power minus j 2 pi nk divided by capital N. So now this x of n is not as such in this case. It is considered in both real time and imaginary time. See, your x of n is written as xr of n plus j into xi of n. Just I have replaced x of n into xr of n plus j into xi of n. Again, this e power minus j 2 pi nk can be written as in terms of cos theta and sin theta. You know, e power minus j theta will be equal to cos theta minus j sin theta. Just I have expanded this e power minus j 2 pi nk divided by capital N as cos 2 pi kn divided by capital N minus j sin 2 pi nk divided by capital N. Here theta will be equal to 2 pi nk divided by capital N. Now just I am multiplying real term with real term and imaginary term with imaginary term. So in the case of cos and sine, cos is the real term, sine is the imaginary term. So your XOR of n cos 2 pi nk divided by capital N plus j into x1 I of n sin 2 pi kn divided by capital N. So if I take this j outside as common outside means j can be replaced as minus 1. So minus j I have taken outside. So x of r of n sin 2 pi kn divided by n minus x I of n cos 2 pi kn divided by n. Just I have taken the minus j outside. Okay. So obviously sin will be minus, cos will be plus because I have written in between minus sign. Just you multiply and replace. This whole term is, first term, whole term is real term. Second term is your imaginary term. Just multiplication. XOR of n is multiplied with cos and sine. Xi of n is multiplied with again cos and sine. Just a mathematical calculation. So your now it comes into whenever you apply discrete Fourier transform, the next step your time domain signal will be converted into frequency domain signal. So x of k will be equal to xr of k plus jxi of k, where real and imaginary parts of x of k is separately it has written. You check the previous slide. So first portion, real and imaginary, it is written separately. So with the j, there are two terms are there. If you see the previous, two terms are there under j. So that is your imaginary part and first two terms are the real part. So simply it is written as xr of k with cos and sine and the xi of k with the minus. Because j we can replace, it is imaginary term. So minus sine minus cos. So now this is again it is repeated. Same thing, this is written in time domain, just written in frequency domain. So the changes of notation, if small x will become capital X and all this n will become k. This theta value will not vary. This k is nothing but it is also number of samples, as you know. Why this 1 by n k means? That is the formula of inverse discrete Fourier transform. That is 1 by n summation k is equal to 0 to n minus 1 x of k e power plus j 2 pi n k divided by capital N. That is the inverse discrete Fourier transform formula. See, again I have written separately. If you want, you can note down. Just for notification purpose, I have written. See, real and even sequence, x of n is equal to x of n minus n. Then how your discrete Fourier transform will be. If it is positive, x of n is equal to positive means cos will come. If it is negative means sine will come along with minus j. How we are concluding this two equation is based on the proof what we have done in the symmetry property. Okay. So even though in real term both cos and sine will be there, but real term will comes in positive polarity. But in the case of imaginary, it will be coming in the negative polarity. Based on that, it is written for real and even sequence in the case of positive and also in the case of negative. So this is again the extension. Symmetry property of real value of x of n. So this is your next property, that is circular frequency shift. So here you see x of n, wherever throughout this unit, this first equation is very, very important. X of n will be converted into x of k using DFT. So now x of n e power j 2 pi n k DFT x of k minus 1 modulus n. So shifting the frequency components by DFT. Just I am shifting it circularly by multiplying with e power j 2 pi n divided by capital N. That will be equal to multiplication of the shifting with respect to the variable by L unit. Okay. So next we go for circular correlation. What do you mean by correlation? Same domain signal will be compared with each other. That we call it as circular correlation. The analysis characteristic parameter of two signals should be the same. Okay. So x of n, if you undergo discrete Fourier transform for n samples, it will be x of k. If I analyze y of n through DFT with respect to capital N sample, that will be y of k. So this rho xy dash of L is the actual notation of a correlation between x and y. As I said before, correlation is nothing but you are relating two signals. That's why in initial stage we have taken x of n and y of n. Those two are the signals we are going to correlate each other. We are going to find the relationship between each other with same platform, not with two different platforms. In correlation, it is not possible. So, or xy rho of L, if you undergo DFT means, obviously the small r will become capital R, whatever the variable with respect to L or N, whatever, it will become K. So, as we deal with x and y of two signals, this capital or xy rho of k will be equal to x of k, y star of k. That is, literally we are going to multiply two signals, keeping one constant and other one circularly varying. Okay? Circularly varying. You can imagine with matrix how we will multiply. Left hand side 1, 2 will be there. Right hand side 1, 2, 3 will be there. Vertically if you keep 1, 2 and horizontally it will be 1, 2, 3 means 1, 1 will be multiplied. Again 1, 2 will be multiplied. Again 1, 3 will be multiplied. Again 2 of the vertical side will be multiplied with 1, 2, 3 again. Just to imagine the matrix format. That is the background relationship or analysis for the correlation. So now in correlation you have two types, autocorrelation and cross correlation. So here we are going to deal with two signals, x different, y different. So it is cross correlation. You can do autocorrelation also, rho xx, rho yy. You can, because it is circular shift. So we don't know at which time the signal will be in which characteristic, we don't know. So if you keep on compare with one time to the other time of the same signal, that comes under autocorrelation. If you analyze with respect to time of one signal x of n to the other signal y of n, that will be cross correlation. Next we go for complex conjugate properties. This conjugate is nothing but so 1 by 2 means suppose 1 plus j divided by 1 plus j will be there. If you take complex conjugate means what you will do? Whatever in the denominator, suppose 1 minus j means 1 plus j multiply and divided by 1 plus j. That is the thing we will do in mathematical analysis. So same here also, x of n, if you undergo DFT, x of k will be there. This x star of n undergo DFT comes under complex conjugate means x star of minus k modulus n. So it means your k, your n sample is shifted by right side with k units. These are all the way of representation. Both are same meaning. For simple writing, it is written like modulus of n, suffix n. But the actual meaning is x star of n minus k means our n number of capital N number of sample is shifted to the right side by k units. Okay. So now you go for x star of minus n suffix n means same thing. Because it is modulus, whether it is minus or plus, both will be same. So same thing. If I assume e power j 2 pi nk divided by n as 1 means your DFT of x star of n will be equal to summation of n is equal to 0 to n minus 1, x star of n, both will be there. E power j, anyway it is 1. It's not going to be disturbed because it is complex conjugate. That's why minus multiplied with plus. Anyway, both are going to get cancelled and make it as 1. Okay, for any samples, whatever we deal with. Same thing for shifting also, n minus k. So here x of n, sorry, x star of n will be equal to x star of n. Here x star of n minus k will be equal to x star of n minus k. Okay. So next one is time reversal of a sequence. So here this is the statement. Second expression is the statement. X of minus n suffix n will be again shifted by n units. Right side my capital N is shifted by n units. So this DFT is also, we call it as circularly folded. Sequence in a circularly folded DFT. This is a proof actually. X of minus n modulus n will be equal to x of n minus n. How we can tell? If I apply discrete Fourier transform for x of n minus n, what will happen? Summation n, same, it's a formula of DFT. Summation n is equal to 0 to n minus 1 x of n minus n e power minus j 2 pi n kn. You see? Here instead of x of n, it is n minus n. That's all. So if I replace m is equal to, for easy analysis, m is equal to n minus n means here also it will be m, here also it will be m. Okay? So here you can write x of n minus n as m also because we have replaced. So x of m is equal to summation m is equal to n to 1. X of m e power minus j 2 pi instead of n minus m divided by capital N. Here why we have written, why we have changed this limit? If n is equal to 0 means, see, if n is equal to 0 means m will be equal to n. So I am replacing n is equal to 0 means m is equal to n. You compare this one and this one. So now suppose for upper limit you see n minus 1 means what will happen? N minus of n plus 1 will be there. So n will get cancelled. So only 1. So this is how the limit gets changed. Okay. So whatever the DFT you are taking under time reversal of the sequence, that will be equal to x of m e power j 2 pi k divided by n into n minus m. This replacement and conditions are important in the case of time reversal of a sequence. So this is just the proof what we have written. This is important. Multiplication of two sequence. Two sequence means automatically x of n and y of n come into picture. So as I know 1 by n x of k, n circled n, y of k. This is the notation for circular convolution. For n, why here it is n? Because we are going to convolute for n number of samples. So obviously the circular convolution of the DFT will be in the case of frequency domain. Okay. So next class we are going to see discrete Fourier transform problems regarding the first unit. Regarding the first topic, what is DFT, what is the use and what is the need we have seen, and what are all the properties of the discrete Fourier transform we have seen. So among these properties I have lifted, I have noted these are the properties which are repeatedly asked in the university exams. Now anyone you have doubt you can ask me. Jashwan?
Tell me, ma'am.
Any doubt you can ask me. If you want this PPT also I will forward.
Okay.
Any doubt you tell. Regarding the second unit we are going to concentrate only on DFT properties, problem and fast Fourier transform problem.
Okay.
Okay, only three things. Properties of DFT based problems, fast Fourier transform problems we are going to solve. Any doubt you can ask. Because still time is there, any doubt you can ask. And regarding tomorrow's class, we are going to start discrete Fourier transform problems. So all of you keep your running notes along with calculator.
Okay.
So with tomorrow we can solve 2 to 3 problems. So simultaneously you also solve.
Okay.
Then it will be clear.
Okay.
So whatever you do in the class, only few people will be having calculator. Now all are there in home. So obviously all your calculators will be with you. Only Jashwant is active in the class. Remaining all sleeping, huh? Ma, other than Jashwant.
Tell me now.
No, other than Jashwant. Kiran, Anusha,
Yes,
Kalyan,
ma'am.
not Praneeth. Can you able to follow? Any
Yes, ma'am.
doubt in the class? You can ask. Stop it. Okay, Masha. So tomorrow class, what we are going to see? Praneeth.
The net was mute, ma'am. Unmute.
Unmute her. Praneeth, tomorrow class, what we are going to see?
Signal problem, ma'am. Hello.
Discrete Fourier transform problems we are going to see. So you sit along with the calculator. We are going to see this is the most important
Note.
topic in second unit, right? Open your mouth and respond. In class, you will not close your mouth.
Sanit
Ma'am,
Darya.
tomorrow class.
Emma?
Tomorrow not the class, ma'am.
No, next
Hello.
class I am telling. That's why I kept next class.
Okay.
While coming for next class, you should sit along with your calculator. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Varma. Hello, Varma. Hello, Varma. Ayappa. Hello. Hello, Ayappa. Hello, Ayappa. Hello, Ayappa.